And I do expect you to be following along, okay? So put your phones away. There's calculators out. I would prefer you would use calculators. Use the quadratic equation to answer the following questions. Be sure to show all work to receive credit. So letter A says, state the values A, B, and C. As I look at this equation, is that in standard form where I can correctly write down A, B, and C? Yes, it is. It is set equal to 0, and all of my values are simplified. So A is what? -4. B is -5. And C is 9. Find the discriminant for the quadratic equation. What is the formula for the discriminant?
B squared minus 4 times A times C.
B squared minus 4AC. Are we giving that to you directly? No, but it is part of the quadratic formula. B is -5, so I'm going to square that, minus 4 times my A value of -4 times my C value of 9. -5 squared is how much? What is it? 25 minus, what's 4 times -4? -16, and -16 times 9 is -144. Check my math. Okay. And I cannot have that double negative, so I'm going to add the opposite. And 25 plus 144 is 169. That is my discriminant. The discriminant is going to be a number. Jasmine, you need some... What? Tell me. You're looking very perplexed. No? Okay. All right. So 169 is my discriminant. So that is a positive value, correct? And because it is a positive value, how many real roots would I expect to have? 2. Do I need to find those roots for problem 1? No, that's it. So that is the answer for number 1, parts A, B, and C. Okay. Any questions about those? Number 2, when you solve, what number does your equation have to be equal to? 0. Okay, 0. And what is the first step to factoring? Find the GCF. And the key word there is first step to factoring. When you're factoring, you find the GCF. All right, 1 page down. See, this isn't so bad. The next one, using the graph at the right, assume A is equal to 1. So I have a parabola here. It says my A value is equal to +1 or -1. How do we know it's positive? It is going up. Yes. What are my roots, and can you circle them? Okay, circle them first. So we're circling the roots. The roots would be here and here. So that is, what is that? 1, 2, 3. -3 and +2. Now, the factored form, it says, is right here at the bottom. Y is equal to A times x minus root 1 and x minus root 2. So I need to start it off as y equals, because it is an equation. Okay. My A value was how much? positive 1 times x minus root 1. Well, root 1 is a negative 3. Can you subtract a negative 3? No, so it's going to be x plus 3. And over here, my second one is going to be x minus root 2. So x minus the root 2 is x minus 2. So this is your final answer. And what you need to remember is when you write in factored form, the factors look opposite of what the roots are. Question, Dom. Okay. So in factored form, don't put x minus 3 and x plus 2. It'll be wrong. You've got to put x plus 3 and x minus 2. It looks the opposite. It's like the opposite of vertex form. Everybody clear on that? All right, let's go to number 4. Fill in the blanks below with the information about the discriminant. So if I have a positive answer, how many real solutions am I going to have? 2. If I have a 0 discriminant where the answer is equal to 0, how many real solutions? Which is it? 1. And if I have a negative value, it's 0. So think about it. Positive is 2, 0 is 1, negative is 0. So they kind of go in order. Positive has 2, those have the most. 0 is in the middle, so 1 is in the middle between 0 and 2, and a negative value gets you 0 real roots. Draw a sketch of what the graph would look like. Is there only going to be one correct answer for this? No. As long as you draw a parabola and it crosses in 2 places, that's what I'm saying are my 2 real roots. Okay, could look like that. Could look like this. Okay, as long as it's crossing in 2 places. How about where I would have a 1 real solution? What's that going to look like? Above the axis? Say it one more time. So what does that look like? It's going to hit and bounce off. So you only have 1. Could be going down also, but it's got to touch only in 1 spot. Okay, and negative, that's where we're talking about not touching at all. Something like that. Questions on 4? All right, let's take a look at 5. Talk to me. What number does the equation have to be equal to? 0. And set it equal to that number. So right now, this quadratic equation is not equal to 0. What would I do to make it equal 0? Add 8 to both sides. 8's cancel out. That gives me 0 on the end, which makes me happy. And in front, I have 7x squared minus 3x. Well, wait a minute. I have this minus 5 plus 8. That's 4 terms. Is that okay? Kind of. What about minus 5 plus 8? Can I combine those? What is minus 5 plus 8? Plus 3, right? So if you have some like terms of your constants, go ahead and combine them. Does that make sense? Because you can add 8 and negative 5 together. All right? So now I can state my values. What's my A value? 7. My B value is -3, and C is 3. Any questions there? Okay, find the discriminant. Is B squared minus 4AC. Chase, I want you to put the phone right over here. Or in front of you. On the table. Please. Because are you looking at it? Don't have your phone at all?
I'm not looking at it.
Well, not right now, but can you just put it on the table? Okay. Thank you. All right. So B squared minus 4AC. 7, -3, 3. 7, -3, 3. All right. So B squared, this is my B, is going to be -3 squared minus 4 times A value of 7 times C value of 3. This is just the discriminant, okay? -3 squared is how much? Not -9. +9 minus 4 times 7 is 28. And 28 times 3 is 84. 9 minus 84 is going to be what, 75? Negative, yes, thank you. -75. That is a negative value for my discriminant. So how many real roots am I going to have? 0. 0 real roots. Questions about those? How many we got left? I'm just looking. All right. Let's go to 6. Completely factor. So here they are telling you we are factoring. Okay? What do we always need to make sure we are doing first before we factor? Actually, there's a couple things. Make sure it's equal to 0. And what's the next thing we always do? Check for GCF. So first thing, make sure it's set to 0. And 2, you're always going to check for GCF, okay, before you factor. So looking at A, it is set to 0. Do I have a greatest common factor for A? Survey says no. So how many terms do I have? 3. So what type of factoring am I going to do with 3 terms? X box. So I am taking A times C, which is 4 times -5 to give me -20. And my B value is -8. So I need factors of -20 that add to -8. Think about your factors of 20. 10 and 2. And which one gets the negative? The 10, yes. Okay, is this the one where A is equal to 1 and I can use that shortcut? No. A is equal to 4, so I do need to do the box here. In the upper left-hand corner, wearing the blue trunks, what value do I put in the upper left-hand corner? 4x squared. It's that whole first term. What about in this last box? -5. The last term goes with the last box. And in the middle muddle? Well, it's 2x and -10x, right? It's as they are, multiplied with an x. So looking for greatest common factor of the row, I've got 4x squared and negative 10x. Look at your smaller numbers first. So 4 is going to give me 2 goes into 4, 2 goes into 10. They both have an x, so I'm going to say 2x. And now I'm looking down at the bottom row, 2x and negative 5 is going to be 1, because 2 and negative 5 don't have anything in common except for 1. Looking at the column, 4x squared and 2x, what do they have in common? 2 and x. Don't forget to check your variables. Negative 10x and negative 5 is going to be minus 5. Remember, it's negative. So my two factors here, are 2x minus 5 and 2x plus 1 equals 0, because we are solving for x. Holy moly, you're saying this is a long one. Well, kind of. So then we set each of these equal to 0, because if something times something equals 0, one of them is going to be equal to 0. So 2x minus 5 equals 0. Add 5, cancels out. 2x equals 5, divide by 2. X is equal to 5 halves. That's the first root. Excuse me. Then I say 2x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1, subtract 1. 2x equals negative 1, divide by 2. X is equal to negative 1/2. So those are my two roots. Whew. Okay. Let's do, I'm going to skip B, but talk to me about B. What would I do first with B? Subtract 9. Subtract 9. 9's cancel out, so I get 2x squared minus 7x minus 9 equals 0. And I need to solve by factoring. So I would check for a GCF, which I don't see, and then you would factor. Let's go to C though, and I'm going to do C over here because there's no space. 16x squared minus 49 equals 0. We're solving by factoring. What do I do first? Is it set equal to 0? Yes. Is there a GCF?
Yes. No, it's not.
No. And because this is two terms, what would I do here? Or what would I look for in factoring? This is the difference of two squares. Now, 16 is a perfect square. I can write that as 4 squared times x squared minus 49 is a perfect square, which is 7 squared. I can rewrite this.
This afternoon, students testing should go to A lunch and then report to their testing room at the beginning of 5B lunch. Thank you.
So this is going to be 4x plus 7 times 4x minus 7. Do you remember that? A squared minus b squared. That's my favorite kind of factoring. A plus b times a minus b. Now, is that done? No. You would set each of these equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay? So subtract 7, you would say 4x equals negative 7, divide by 4, x is equal to negative 7/4. That would be the first one. Add 7, add 7. 4x equals 7, divide by 4, divide by 4. X is equal to 7/4. All right, I want to do one more before we go, the square root property. A lot of people did not remember square root property. So the square root property is kind of unusual to have in this chapter. You do not set equal to 0 on the square root property. Okay? You do not set it equal to 0. So you take the square root of both sides. And the square root of something that is squared gives you what is in parentheses squared to begin with. And usually when you take the square root of something, you take the positive, but in this case, we take the positive and the negative values. So x minus 3 equals positive 8, and x minus 3 equals negative 8. And then you solve for both. Okay? Your homework tonight is to try to finish these problems and come back with questions. Yes, it is on Canvas. The review is on Canvas also. Okay, remember the test is on Friday. Test is on Friday, okay? So tomorrow we'll go over any questions, maybe start the problem trail. Please, as you are going back, if you have your homework 12-6 done, please turn that in. If you don't have that done, you need to be working on that also, okay? And if you can put the clipboards back, that would be great on your way to the door. And I will see you tomorrow.